We'll go check out the frunk. What the frunk? Yeah, not bad. That's a gym bag or something anyway. And in case you lock somebody in here, there's an emergency release. I don't know who you're locking in there, but
yeah, it's pretty small.
They're not going to be having a good time.
No.
But hey, at least they got a place to put their drinks.
This is the Ford Mustang Mach-E GT. It's built in Mexico. This color is called Grabber Blue. It's all electric, all-wheel drive equipped. And in this video, I'm going to show you two things I'll bet you're curious about if you're about to pull the trigger on one of these.
So mostly my impressions of testing this BlueCruise system out here in the heart of Northern Ontario, but also a look at what you can expect in terms of performance from the LED lighting system on the remote and often unlit highways that wind their way through Moose Country.
BlueCruise is a hands-free Level 2 advanced driver assist feature that's been available since 2021, and it's about as cutting-edge as features like these come. It's like Cruise Control Deluxe with all the bonus toppings. When you're on a BlueCruise compatible road, more on those in a moment, you get an alert that the system is ready, click a button to turn it on, and then your car automatically responds to changing speed limits, automatically centers you in your lane, maintains a safe distance in traffic, and can even shift you over slightly within your lane and away from vehicles beside you that might be drifting between their lines. And all of that is with no hands on the wheel. This is a hands-free system, and unlike the lane-keeping system in your Honda Accord, BlueCruise is intended for use without your hands on the wheel and for extended periods of time. This is not a self-driving feature, so your full participation and attention is required on the road ahead. A face-scanning camera in the steering column cowl uses these purple infrared beams to scan your face, so it knows where you're looking, and takes the system offline if you look away from the road for more than a moment. That's because, since again this is not a self-driving feature, BlueCruise needs to know that the driver can take control back over from the system at any time if needed. By the way, those purple face-scanning infrared lights show up on my camera, but they're not visible to the naked eye.
So all of this only works on pre-qualified highways that have been 3D scanned and uploaded to the database that the BlueCruise system uses, alongside the car's 3 high-resolution GPS units to give it a really precise sense of its position on the road.
Where conventional lane-keeping systems just look at road markings for positioning, the BlueCruise technology gives the car a much more accurate and high-resolution picture of its position on the highway. The database of pre-mapped highways and the advanced GPS connectivity are what gives this system its hands-free superpowers, along with the onboard cameras and sensors that continue to provide full advanced, though not hands-free cruise control capability if you're on any other stretch of road. So at the moment, hands-free driving is possible on over 160,000 kilometers, or 100,000 miles if you like, of divided highways and counting in North America, as more are scanned into the BlueCruise database. One of these is the one you're seeing me drive on here, Highway 69, which has some challenges of its own, at least one of which makes me a little apprehensive about this no-handed driving business, and the reason why is simple.
In years of testing cars, I've been instructed by dozens or maybe even hundreds of professional drivers in a wide range of different settings. And one of the first things they always teach you, 100% of the time, is that your hands belong right here at 9 and 3, all the time, with just 2 exceptions. 1, you're shifting gears with a manual transmission, or 2, you're turning so sharply that your arms have to cross. Other than that, your hands should be right here at 9 and 3. So according to any expert driver I've ever worked with, 9 and 3 is the place to be.
Literally, I've had driving instructors yell at me for having my hands anywhere else but right here and at all times. In virtually any footage you see of me driving, whether on the highway or a racetrack, you'll see my hands virtually never leave that position. Anything else feels uncomfortable to me after so much expert training to the contrary. And now with features like Ford's BlueCruise, which I'm testing out with the help of camera guy James, we've got a high-tech new system designed to help you do just the opposite and swallow up great chunks of Canadian highway without ever having to touch the steering wheel. Why would you want a feature like BlueCruise? Maybe it makes your drive more relaxing, or helps you make better use of your time in the car to decompress. But probably, I bet, you're just really excited to have a fun new feature to try, to enjoy, to show your friends and family, and to give yourself a little taste of what's to come as cars become more and more autonomous.
But I'm just like, I'm not doing anything. Like,
Yeah.
no foot, no hands.
100%.
It's still weird, though. It's very, very weird.
And in terms of the use and activation and learning curve to the system, well, there just isn't one. You just press the cruise control button, and the system just turns on and works. It's really simple to try whenever you like, or use as often as you can.
So we're on a qualifying highway, the system's ready. Here's how easy this is to work. You just click the cruise control button one time, you get the hands-free icon there, and now it's time to take our hands off, keep our eyes focused up the road, and let the car do the work for us.
Let me give you my perspective as a professionally trained and very hands-on driver, as well as a multiple award-winning road safety journalist. To help illustrate my point, I need to show you this very expensive Taycan Turbo, a $200,000 electric Porsche I was testing out a few years back on these very highways, when a black bear, not quite full-grown, ran out in front of me from my immediate right-hand side. There was zero prior warning, and he ran so close to the car, traveling at about 115 kilometers per hour, that I remember seeing the projector beam cutoff going across his ears, about a car length ahead of me. This type of near miss, in my experience, is by far more common than encountering wildlife at a distance up the road. A lucky and well-timed flick of the steering wheel got the front driver's side corner of the Taycan pointed just out of the bear's path, buying me a tiny sliver of space to avoid an ugly collision.
The Taycan's handling gets some of the credit, as well as maybe my experience driving these cars on these highways. But I think the real reason in that situation that I didn't get a face full of airbag and black bear is that my hands were already exactly where they belong at the 9 and 3 position.
I'm having trouble trusting,
You're having trust issues, but
but it did it.
it's
Oh, it says now keep hands on steering wheel.
because now we're not on a divided highway anymore.
Oh.
That ended just back there. And at the moment, that system only works on divided highways.
Of course, on busier highways further south where wildlife is less of a concern, BlueCruise does do a bang-on job of distancing you from other traffic, and you'll quickly notice it leaving a nice bubble of space in terms of distancing from the lead vehicle and centering within its lane. Even in the frustrating stop-and-go traffic on the busy 401, BlueCruise turns some of the most stressful driving I ever face into a way to sit back and relax and let the car do the work, while you watch a cool bit of technology in action instead. Many drivers in this part of Ontario spend hours in traffic like this on a daily basis, with BlueCruise calling the shots and being consistent, reliable, and never doing anything startling after several hundred kilometers of testing on my watch. I'd happily tell you that commuting through a BlueCruise compatible zone is much more relaxing, smooth, and stress-free than going hands-on, but do keep in mind that rain or snow can knock the system offline, and after your free trial runs out, this functionality will cost you about $75 per month, so be sure you'll benefit from it. So my final thought is that while I give full props to BlueCruise as a very remarkable piece of technology that will entice and delight its shoppers, my personal use of this system whenever I encounter it tends to be more for testing and filming purposes, and then I choose to keep my hands on the wheel just in case. Your experiences and tolerance for risks will vary and you can make your own decisions, and I think a lot of drivers will really benefit from this system and have a great experience with it, especially if you're doing a lot of driving on busier sections of major compatible highways. Still, for this Northern Ontario-based motorist, my experience says that having my hands off the wheel is at least slightly riskier than having them on it, so that's where I'll be keeping them when I'm heading through the heart of Moose Country.
When you were 12, did you think we'd be driving an electric Mustang that could drive itself?
No, not 10 years ago. I didn't think that technology would be
Yep.
trusting enough.